I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's Ken Reed here, your TV guidance counselor on the show, TV Guidance Counselor. We are midway through December, almost exactly, I think. What's the 15th? It's Monday, the 15th. My guest this week is the very talented, very funny Rick Katschke. I keep stumbling on Rick's name because there used to be a comic here in Boston named Rich Karski, who is not Rick Katschke. It's very confusing. Also, hey, Rich, I don't know how you're doing. I haven't seen that kid in years. But anyway, he's not important right now. Rick Katschke is my guest this week. He is the host and creator of the Catered Quiz. If you are unfamiliar, a good episode to start with is the one I did a couple months ago where I answered questions about Dawn of the Dead and just the 10 of us. So Rick takes a subject that the guest purports to be an expert in, and then he spends quite a lot of time researching, making very specific questions. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it, although I was disappointed in my performance. I didn't do terrible. I did win enough money to get a North Shore roast beef sandwich, but you can listen to that there. It's the Catered Quiz by Rick Katschke. We talk about all kinds of fun stuff. He's got some amazing stories, really fun episode. And I think we redeem Baywatch. That's the most important part of this episode. Next week, I have another guest, fun guest. It's a semi-Christmas episode. We talk about a Christmas issue, but the week after that is our 2025 year in review. So if you have questions about anything really, feel free to send them to me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com or over on the patreon.com/tvguidancecounselor. And if you were a $5 a month or more patron over there, and I know times are tough, you would have a PDF of this issue that Rick and I look at this week. So you can do that there. So not next week, but the week after will be my year in review. So you get a week if you have some questions. A few have come in thus far, some good ones. And then fast forward to February, I'll be doing my 2016 year in review. So if you have any questions about that, we can talk about that later. Anyway, please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode with my guest, the creator and host of the Catered Quiz, Rich Katschke. Oh, no, it isn't. It's Rick Katschke.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Live via satellite from Wisconsin, Rick, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Ken. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me on your show as well. For people that hadn't heard it, I was on the Catered Quiz, which is a very fun show. And before we started recording, I teased a thing that I had heard, and it was related to the episode I did. The Monroeville Mall, which is where Dawn of the Dead was shot, has been purchased by Walmart, who plan to demolish it.
Oh, I thought it was going to be good news you were about to share.
It's not.
That's not good news.
No, I wish it was good news. Mm-mm. So if you ever want to visit it, now's the time.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
your window of time is running out.
Yes, it is. Because, I mean, a Walmart might as well be a dead mall, but, if you want to see zombies, you go to a Walmart. But in that case, it's a little too on the nose.
I worked a summer in college technically for Walmart, where they were remodeling a store, and I ended up working in a warehouse where it honestly was like Dawn of the Dead, the amount of gruesome injuries I saw. Because I saw a forklift drive into a pillar and somebody separate their shoulder, and he couldn't come back to work. And then they asked if I wanted to become forklift certified for an additional 50 cents an hour.
And of course you said yes.
Oh yeah, exactly. It was the
with
best,
no insurance.
Right. It was the best shape I ever got in because I was lugging heavy things, not correctly though. So I was like very muscular, but in horrible physical. It took a physical toll. That's my association with Walmart.
Without the ability to lift anything because of your back. So you had the muscles, but you just couldn't do it.
And then the store that they remodeled, like 5 years later, they closed it. So it was like all that work was for nothing.
Was there like a big Wisconsin department store that like Walmart put out of business? Like, is there like a long defunct one from your youth?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah, there was Boston store that's long gone.
Ironically, we didn't have them here.
Did they call him Carson Perry Scott by you, or did you just not have Boston stores?
We didn't have the Boston store. So the Boston store was some in Canada and some in the Midwest department store that eventually got bought by May Corporation, who owned Macy's, who basically bought every single regional department store. So Macy's here bought Filene's, and they bought Lord & Taylor and a bunch of other businesses here. But yeah, so everything's May Corp. Marshall
Fields is the big one in the Chicago area. My great-grandfather worked at that Marshall Fields for over 50 years. Now it's a big Macy's, but there is still a plaque on the 7th floor of that Macy's honoring my great-grandfather's 50-plus years working for Marshall Fields. That is like, I think that's pretty cool that, you could work a lifetime for a department store and that you could make a living. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah, and probably a decent living. Do you remember what he did?
I don't know exactly, but...
Yeah, because they were like full service.
Right.
They did everything in those stores. It was kind of amazing. But speaking of the past, you picked an issue here. August 27th to September 2nd. What year is it? 1997? Is
94.
That the year you did? 94. And this is Letterman on the cover. I imagine this is why you picked it?
I'm a huge Letterman fan, yes. And thought it was cool that there was a Letterman cover. And the timing works out. We're going to talk about it later, but it actually synced up with something that I ended up doing. So there was also an appropriate tie-in terms of the timing of this issue.
August is always a weird TV month, especially at this time, because this is the issue before the fall preview. And I do get a lot of guests who pick a fall preview and mistakenly think the shows that they want to watch that season will be listed, but they don't usually air till like a week or two after the fall preview because it's a preview.
Yeah.
But the last issue before the new season kind of starts, so like end of August, 1st in September, is always strange because you get a lot of like... not dumping ground stuff, but you get a lot of stuff where they're just like, kids are still out of school, let's give them something to watch, mixed with a bunch of shows where it's like, we know this show's been canceled and like this is the last time it's going to air before whatever's replacing it comes in and replaces it. So it's like just a strange end of summer, which is always weird anyway, especially I was 14 this year. I was going into high school. So like the end of it's just like a weird melancholy kind of Sunday night week, No,
I was 9 at this time. So that was also a factor of like, okay, this was kind of like my peak, the start of me really watching TV pretty much every day.
Oh yeah, and this is Letterman. So this is, I think, the end of his first season at CBS.
That's correct.
With the 11:30 show. So this article is kind of, it's almost like a post-mortem of this first season, which is a very interesting snapshot. And especially since we had not gotten all that sort of late shift behind the scenes stuff quite yet. So it was a very interesting snapshot. But before we get into the magazine proper, I always like to look at the Ask TV Guide segment when it's in here. And again, I always want to point out, these were questions that people needed to know the answer to so badly that they physically wrote a letter into TV Guide and were like desperately like, maybe they'll answer this. And they always amaze me.
Yes. So
this one's kind of standard. Like the first one I would expect because it's from like a Trekkie and they always would go out of their way. So it's like, I liked those syndicated Tech War movies. Are there any more coming? And then it's like, yeah, William Shatner's going to do those. But then this one is the most vague. Why did you care about this? What is wrong with you to write this in? How often do channel surfers change channels on a normal night of viewing? Like someone was like, I have to know.
It's like somebody was having an argument and the only way to figure out the answer was to write into TV Guide to figure this out. Yes.
This is going to break up our family unless we know the answer to this. And I will read the answer, listener. But the thing that's funny to me is how outdated and unnecessary this concept is now, which just hit me this second. Because people don't flip to other things while they're watching something if a commercial's on. It doesn't happen now. And that was such a thing. So surfers with cable switch channels an average of 7.2 times every half hour, mostly during commercials, according to a recent study. So that's like, what is that? I don't know what that is. Every 7 minutes. No, I don't know what 730 divided by 7.2 is. 4?
So
every 4
yeah,
minutes?
it's pretty much every 4 minutes they're flipping. If it's a half hour rate that it's based off of. I will say, I think there's still, because I still do it, I think you still get a little bit of channel surfing with sports. So you're watching a game and that game goes to commercial and you see, okay, well, what other football game is on? Is that still having action that I can watch for a few minutes before going back to the main game that I'm watching? That's like the only channel surfing I still do.
Well, it's the only live TV most people watch now, too, I guess. That would make sense. Because I figure most people, instead of channel surfing, they're just looking at their phone or something.
Zone out, forget that you are watching a show. Yeah.
I like that people need to zone out from the mindless zone out. Like, for the most part, they're like, oh, I'm watching Frasier. Oh, I got to zone out from this now. Then we get a great little article about Linda Carter, who is just amazing. There's a pretty cool little article about Harvey Firestein and being openly gay, which is hilarious because, I don't know if you picked up on this, but on this page, so it's a full like sidebar about Harvey Firestein, and you know how he's like openly gay and he's on TV and it's this great thing. And then right next to him is this article about Ellen DeGeneres, and this is like 3 years before she came out, and it's all about how she doesn't dress well. so very funny. Yeah. Cheers and Cheers, which we'll get to later. They review Hearts of Fire in here, which was a post-Designing Women Linda Bloodworth Thomason show. I believe that was Marky Post and John Ritter were working for rival political parties as advisors in D.C., if I'm remembering the premise of this show right.
I was totally unaware of this show, so it was wild to see that Billy Bob Thornton was in this show, because this was before Sling Blade, where he really was elevated to a name everyone knew.
And this was his sort of big break, was in this multicam, sort of slightly raunchy sitcom. So it did, I think it did 2 seasons. It did like relatively okay-ish. But this was 94. So you had John Ritter, who's like sitcom royalty, and Marky Post had just come off Night Court. So they're sort of the big names here. It is funny seeing someone talk about Billy Bob Thornton in this review, because he goes, a sharp comic who with his dry drawl could make a telephone bill funny. And I guess he's funny, but I never think of him as a comedic actor.
Yeah. He definitely has comedic talent, but especially now, I think especially after Fargo, he's really, you think of him now more of almost a menacing, but in an appealing way, presence.
Have you ever heard that audio of him being interviewed by that CBC guy and him flipping out on the guy?
It's so great.
Did you ask Tom Petty that? He gets all mad. It's like, dude, come on. Like, they're obviously going to ask. We're not going to pretend you're just a musician.
And then I saw there was a side-by-side of that classic clip with I Think You Should Leave, where there's the Santa Claus is now an action star, and I didn't even pick up on it that he's almost doing verbatim lines from that Billy Bob Thornton clip. That's amazing.
It's perfect. So then we have the Letterman article here. So you were at 9, I presume even in the summer, you're not really watching Letterman at this time.
No, I grew up, my parents would have Letterman on. So whether it was the Late Show with David Letterman or Late Night with David Letterman, I watched them both. And so even at 9 years old, this article references Sirajul and Mujibar, and I
Yes.
had a Sirajul and Mujibar shirt because my dad had been out in New York and had gone to their store and actually had bought it, and they like autographed it too. So I was a huge Letterman fan. And then I ended up going to see a taping of Letterman on my honeymoon, and they liked our enthusiasm, and my wife and I got really close seats, in the front row. And then he came out and did a Q&A before the show, and I'm not shy, and I was like, "Oh, we're on our honeymoon. Any recommendations you have?" So then he ended up referencing us multiple times during the show. So I will send you the clip. I got a moment to shine with Letterman, and I got to make him laugh in the pre-show, which was like a huge honor because he asked, we talked about me being from Wisconsin, and he knew of the Pfister Hotel and the Wisconsin Dells.
Isn't he from Indiana?
That's correct. Yeah. And so he asked, like, if you could stay at the Pfister and go to the Dells, which, like, you could, but it would not be convenient at all. So, and then he asked, like, what the Wisconsin Dells were. I was like, mostly a tourist trap, and that made him laugh. So that was a huge honor for me to have that experience.
So clearly he thought the name was funny because it's called Pfister.
Pfister, yeah.
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like Mr. with an F. And what are the Wisconsin Dells other than a tourist? Is it like an amusement park?
The Wisconsin Dells it's actually the water park capital of the world. There are numerous water parks there, most notably Noah's Ark, but there's also mini golf and escape rooms and candy shops, fudge shops. So it is almost like a Jersey Shore element.
Like a boardwalk, yeah.
Boardwalk the middle of Wisconsin, closer to like Madison than Milwaukee.
But I have to imagine with the winters, like a very short season.
Yes. I mean, the summer is the main season, and then they do have some ski resorts and indoor water parks. That's that keeps it going in the non-summer season. But yes, primarily it's a lot of people have summer jobs working at the water parks in the Wisconsin Dells.
So is that like the hot high school summer job? You're like, yeah, I'm a lifeguard at the Dells Water Park.
I didn't live close enough where it would be, but I have friends that did work at the Dells as lifeguards, and exactly that is like, I think of the movie Adventureland, but like picturing that, but with water parks.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I loved that movie. I have some
it's a really good movie.
screen worn shirts from that movie.
Wow.
The games and rides shirts. And so are you a water slide guy? Do you have a water slide that you enjoy?
I enjoy water slides, but there's not one that stands out to me in terms, if you really want to get into the Wisconsin Dells. Noah's Ark is the big, busy, always happening. There's always a big crowd there, and it was too much for my family. We went to the smaller version called Familyland, and that was the more friendly version. But I will say, when we were going to Familyland, one time my aunt and uncle had a foreign exchange student from Italy, and he showed up at Familyland with an Italian swimsuit, which was like basically the thinnest piece of fabric ever. And so
the grape smugglers, as we used to call them.
Right. And I mean, he was in shape. He was in I was like 10 and he was like 18 or whatever, but he drew a crowd that day. A lot of attention at Familyland for this Italian exchange student.
Mamma mia. We have water country here in Salem, New Hampshire. And I would mostly go until it started to get busy, and then I would spend the rest of the day in the arcade. But because they had a Neo Geo machine.
Nice.
But they have this slide called the Geronimo, which is the least fun I've ever had on any kind of amusement park equipment, in that it's basically like a 90-degree like just straight down, like slide. And so you go out and they like push you and they're like, yell Geronimo. And then you're like in the air for what feels like 5 minutes. And then you slam onto this thing, like your back just slams. And then it's like 2 seconds of wedgie. It is, I don't know. I get people do it because they're like, I went to the Geronimo, but there were people who like kept going on it, and I'm like, this is not fun.
That sounds like there would be a Wikipedia page for the Geronimo with a list of incidents and injuries. Like,
Like Action Park, yeah.
Right.
There may be. You know, I've never looked it up, but there very well may be. And then before we get to the listings here, there's a really weird contest advertised in here, and I don't know if you saw this.
Oh yeah, the HBO one?
Yes, the HBO Saturday Night Sure Thing Sweepstakes. And this is so weird, and I have to imagine like this part's a joke, but so basically if you win, you get to pick one of these 4 dates. And it says, take a chance on these dates with disaster. You can go 2-stepping across the Southwest, traveling in style in this guy's RV. And it's this hick guy. Then there's like a hippie girl. And it's like, we'll get your auras cleaned. If she's your destiny, you'll transcend to India. And then you can go to Argentina or a pie eating contest in Iowa. And so they're like, if you're a winner, you might decide to take your chances and take the trip of a lifetime with one of our quote unquote dates.
Yeah.
Or you could take the Sure Thing, which is free HBO for life, plus $1,000 cash every Saturday night for a whole year. So $52,000 cash, and the prize is free HBO for life. I have to think that they assumed no one would take the dates.
But I want the Bart wins an elephant version of this contest where somebody insists, no, I want to go on that date to Argentina.
That's what I would have picked as well. I would have picked the Argentina because I feel like that probably could have been more valuable. So you call in and you have to write. So 1 is the pie eating contest. 2, like you write in which one you want. But then they say the value of the trip prize is approximately $20,000 and includes airfare. But the other one's $52,000 and the value is $62,000, which I don't understand. Oh, because they calculate the free HBO for life. So they say up to 55 years. So if you live more than 55 years, they're taking your HBO away. But they're valuing that. So 55 years of HBO in 1994 is valued at $10,000.
So whoever won this contest, if they took that prize, they still have 24 years of free HBO.
If they're alive.
Then it's being cut off. Yep.
They're going to be like, oh, man. And I wonder if that like translated to like HBO Max as well, or if they just get the free HBO.
I know it. Well, I mean, there was no mention of HBO Max in the fine print here.
They didn't have a streaming service, and then like later, like a couple years after this, they had like HBO 2 and HBO Comedy. Like, are you getting all of them? Or are you just getting classic HBO? This could be in court for years.
A lifetime of litigation.
Lifetime of litigation for free. There's an article in here about Claire Danes because My So-Called Life premiered that fall. This is a great article. I was the exact age she is. She was 13 here. I was 14. I had a wicked crush on her. But one thing that kind of disturbed me in this article, she was 13 on the day of the audition. So she was 14 when they shot the pilot. Jared Leto is 22.
Oh my God.
That seems like really gross, like extra gross because it's him and he's gross.
I was going to say, well, I mean, everything since My So-Called Life has been so squeaky clean with him. Yeah, no, this feels like the start of that trend. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like anyone who's like, okay, you're 22. You're going to be playing a 15-year-old and you have to make out with this 13-year-old. I would be like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, that's weird.
I'm thinking maybe not.
That's gross.
But great show. I've often talked about it on this show. When I was in South Pasadena, I went to the street that they used for Angela and Krakow's houses, and it was like a very, very transcendent experience. It was up there with my trip to the Monroeville Mall.
Wow. My So-Called Life is a show, obviously I know of it. It was on in 1994. I know of all the acclaim. I've never actually watched it. So I'm
curious if you would like it. It is exactly my youth. So it is about a 14-year-old girl in 1994 in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. I was a 14-year-old boy in 94 in the suburbs of Boston, but it was like very, very accurate. And the weirdest thing is, for whatever reason, a ton of Boston bands show up in the show. So like Buffalo Tom is key in the pilot, and like Bill from Buffalo Tom, he's sat right here. He's been on the show. Juliana Hatfield from Boston has been in the show. She does songs. She's in the Christmas episode, also a friend, and has been here. So it's very weird. Like, it was very, very strange to be in the place. And there's sort of this iconic shot from the pilot, and I was like standing right there. Very strange.
I was going to say, one of the main things I do know about it is it really got held up for years with the music rights for it to eventually come out on DVD. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
That if it has all these musical acts. Yes.
But they released, while the show was on the air, this is when TV series were starting to get soundtrack releases. So Melrose Place had one, which actually broke Letters to Cleo nationally. But the My So-Called Life soundtrack is freaking awesome. It's such a good album. And I listen to it to this day, back to front. Like, it's just killer.
Nice.
So then there's a debate in here that seems very not relevant, but it's Samantha versus Jeanie. And people wrote in about who they would pick.
Yeah, I mean, this was the burning question of 1994. Yes.
Yeah, totally up to date. They had 810,938 viewers who picked Samantha. So Samantha won. I would have picked Samantha. I don't know. What would you have gone with?
I probably would have gone Samantha.
I don't think it's close.
Right.
I mean, I like Jeanie, but I think we would all pick Samantha. But man, there are people who are mad about that. But then there are also people, this man, Jimmy Welt from Gunter, Texas, goes, any woman who calls her husband master is a loser.
Hey, Jimmy Welt, it's a weird, like, progressive stance, but also it's like, well, wait a second. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then all these people were like, yay, go Bewitched. So I guess what happened was TV Guide wrote a jeer saying they were mad that it was Sam and it should have been Jeanie. And so all these people wrote in and they were like, you're wrong. And every single one of these makes a really good point. Like this one's like, Bewitched appeared a year before Jeanie, so there wouldn't have been a Jeanie if not for Bewitched. And then this person, John Moreland from Pasadena, says, how many women are powerful enough to replace their husbands unnoticed with someone who not only goes by the same name, but is a foot and a half taller?
That's why they give John Moreland the final word. It's like, okay.
Yep.
I guess we're wrong. Let's let Moreland take it home. Yep.
Cannot do it. So then they have an article in here on the Nashville Network's Club Dance. Have you ever seen this?
I was completely unaware of this. This was new to me. Were you a Club Dance viewer?
No. So the Nashville Network, TNN, then I believe later became Spike, and something else later. But we got it here, but no one really watched it. Country music wasn't really a thing here. But later when I got into tape trading, I used to like episodes of like Dance Party USA and like Club MTV and like any local things. So there was one that was labeled Club Dance, and I'm like, oh, this is probably something interesting. And then it's just like this weird country line dancing, like super low budget show. And I was like, this is hilarious. And so that's what it is. It's like country American bandstand, sort of. Oh, this reminds me. Do you know who Molly B is?
I don't.
No relation to Cardi. There was a show that she had in the Midwest. I think it might have been out of Wisconsin, but it could have been Minnesota. And it was called Molly B's Polka Party. Okay. And this was on within the last 10 years. For years. She was like this pretty, probably 25-year-old girl who had like a polka band. And it was on every Saturday night. We used to get it on some weird, obscure channel like America TV or something like that. And it was this youngish girl playing polka songs, and the crowd dancing, like minimum age is like 70. There's got to be clips of it on YouTube, but I used to really enjoy watching that on a Saturday night. Club dance is a fun novelty, but it wears off pretty quickly. Then we get to think about Thunderbirds, which is very exciting. And then we get to the listings. So you're on Central Time in Wisconsin.
There also was a thing about studio audiences too.
Oh yes, with Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes. Have you ever been to a TV show taping?
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, mostly. I've been to a bunch. I used to, when I lived in London, I basically wrote, this is how long ago it was, BBC, and was like, hey, I'm like a media student at Goldsmiths in London, you know, can I get tickets for stuff? And every week I'd get an envelope, which is tickets for like 5 different tapings.
Wow.
So I would go to Television Center. I saw a lot of talk shows. Rich Hall had a talk show. I saw The Cure play for the Dom Jolly show. That was really cool because they were shooting those, you know, talk shows. They basically shoot live to tape. Mm-hmm. Sitcoms, you're there for 7-8 hours and it's not fun.
I only was there for Letterman taping that we talked about, and then there was a show called The Chew, and that was
it's like The View, right?
The View, but it was chefs. The View, but it was about like cooking, and they wanted my wife to ask a question, and my wife is very nervous about that sort of stuff, so she passed on it. And then the woman that they did get to do it, it was a question that they had written for her to ask about, like, oh, well, I want to bring this dish to an event, but my sister always likes to make it, so what should I do? And they were like, well, you got to lighten up and let your sister do what she enjoys. If they're the host, they need to do it. So you need to lighten up. They they berated this person who was reading a question that they had made her read. It was like, oh my God.
Was Emerald on that show? I feel like Emerald was one of the hosts. Am I misremembering that? Maybe he wasn't.
Who was that guy?
Bobby Flay.
Bobby Flay was not one of them. I'm blanking on him. But there's a chef who's been canceled, and he was
Mario Batali.
Mario Batali. He was not there during the taping. Who else? There's another guy. He's from I think the Cleveland area. He was there, and Carson Kelly, I think, maybe. I don't know, but yes, the Chew was the other one that we were there for a taping for. I never was there. I've never gone to a taping of a sitcom, but I've heard that those can be very long, as you have reaffirmed.
Very long. Yes, very long and not fun. Like, especially Letterman was probably like a well-oiled machine. Like, you were probably in and out of there in an hour.
Pretty much. It was like 90 minutes, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I can't imagine that would be any longer than that. Yeah, they know what they're doing. Especially where it's, you know, they're doing a show 5 nights a week. Like, they don't have time to screw around or do retakes and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So let's dive in. You had to do a little bit of getting into the mindset of someone from the Bronx. This is a Bronx edition. So we're East Coast. We're 8 to 10 o'clock prime time. So hopefully that didn't screw you up too much.
No.
But let's dive in here. What do you got for Saturday?
Well, on Saturdays, Fridays and Saturdays, my parents had a murder mystery theater business. And so most Fridays and Saturdays throughout the year, I was having a babysitter watch me and my sisters. So Fridays was TGIF and Saturdays was SNICK on Nickelodeon. And what I would do is my buddy Joey Ewert and I, during that afternoon on Saturday, we would ride our bikes to the local Super America gas station, and we'd load up on stacks ahead of SNICK, including my favorite was the Super Soda Cola. It was the Super America branded cola, which just the idea now of a gas station cola being like my weekly treat is very funny. But yes, SNICK was our go-to, so I have the whole SNICK block for Saturday night with Clarissa Explains It All, Adventures of Pete and Pete, Ren and Stimpy, and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Killer lineup. This is easily the best lineup of SNICK to me, because we got rid of Roundhouse, got that crap out of there. All that wasn't on yet, which I just never liked. This is like the perfect SNICK. Ren and Stimpy, Clarissa, Pete and Pete, and Are You Afraid of the Dark? There is something I have never been able to recapture as an adult, and it is that feeling of riding your bike to the corner store and buying a bunch of garbage snacks and a magazine or something, and just how fantastic that is. I It's probably because I'm like a bakery snob now. So like partially I think they do make things worse. Like the snack foods of our youth are not as good anymore, but also
Right.
that like I'm a snob about it. But you know, I only drink cane sugar colas now. But that was just the best. I mean, it was part of it. You had this autonomy to like go do whatever you wanted. I will say my favorite thing about gas station generic brands, and it happens much less now, to your point, because we have like two companies that own everything, is the generic store brand version of Dr. Pepper. And the reason why it fascinates me is it means that people who don't want to be creative are forced to. Because you can't just call it cola or orange. You have to come up with a name for it so that people know it's supposed to be Dr. Pepper. And so if you ever want to go down a great rabbit hole, look up generic store brand Dr. Peppers and you will get just a wide variety of ridiculous names.
I'm pretty sure I have a zine somewhere of all the Dr. Pepper knockoff brands from the past 30
Fantastic.
years, like Dr. Thunder and all that sort of stuff.
Dr. Thunder,
Yeah.
Dr. Zap. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had a place called Store 24 here that was a convenience store, and they had Dr. 24. Which sounds like a Silver Age DC villain.
Do you have a snack that you recall, in addition to the Dr. Pepper knockoffs, do you have a snack that you recall that you would get at the corner store that you can't get now, something that you pined for maybe?
Yeah, well, a couple things. So this summer, specifically in 94, most nights, but certainly Friday and Saturdays, I would walk down to the little strip mall that was, 2 blocks from my house, and I would get a Jim Dandy sundae from Friendly's, which is basically like a double-sized banana split. And I would get a Sprite usually or Cherry Coke, and Cool Ranch Doritos. So stuff that's still around, but not quite the same.
Right.
I did love the Hostess pudding pies. Those I was a big fan of. The vanilla pudding pies. Some people remember them when they were branded Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies, but they were just vanilla pudding pies. And really liked those. I would eat those quite often. I also had like weird, like I would eat, like when I was home alone as a teenager and a younger kid, I would always make like toast with cream cheese on it instead of bagels. I don't know why. Bagel pizzas, we always had frozen ones I would make. I would have just cheese and crackers, and sometimes I'd just sit and eat a jar of pickles. And or a liter of milk and a frozen bag of bite-sized Reese's peanut butter cups.
The ones I recall the most are Nestle used to make basically a Nestle Quick taffy. So it was like an Airhead, but it was a chocolate taffy. And then there was a marshmallow company called Kids, and it was out of the Las Vegas area because I ended up going on a Kids marshmallow tour, and they would have the marshmallow squares from Kids. And then like a year after I went on the tour, this company that was like 100 years old went defunct. And then the one that I still pine for are the WWF Superstar ice cream bars.
Oh, like ice cream bars.
Because they were completely unique. I've never seen it like it anywhere else, where it was a soft cookie outside, vanilla inside, and then a chocolate bar backing to it.
Yeah, it was kind of a ice cream sandwich on a stick, but slightly different. They did bring those back about 10 years ago.
Was it still? I remember they brought a few years ago they did it where it was like an ice cream sandwich, but it wasn't the same formula. It was just like the cookie outside on both sides. They didn't have the cookie, vanilla, chocolate. That's the key. I've never seen it anywhere else done like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some legal reason you can't make them good anymore. But yeah, those were and you got a trading card inside, I think, too.
Yes. It was like part of the box. Yes.
Man, now I want to drive down to the corner store here and buy a bunch of garbage. I feel like now the stupid gas station, it's all like energy drinks and like boner pills.
Right,
like,
exactly.
In various forms of hot Cheetos.
And it's funny because
all hot Cheetos.
I live in the same neighborhood now that I grew up in, and I have a 9-year-old son, and the idea of him like riding his bike to the Speedway, Super America became Speedway. It just no, he wouldn't do that. That's
not
not
happening.
something you do. That's not an option. But that was my routine every Saturday. That was what I was doing.
So your parents had this, is it like a dinner theater thing? Like a murder mystery dinner theater?
Yes, it's a murder mystery dinner theater. They don't do the dinner part, but it would usually be at a restaurant, and that part would be the dinner. And they had numerous different shows and multiple casts. So there were times where they would have like 3 or 4 shows a night, where it wasn't just them doing the show. It was, their friends and actors who were doing it all around the area. They still do them. Not every weekend like it was growing up, but the biggest show they booked was actually for the WWF. They booked the WWF was doing a pay-per-view event in Milwaukee, and this was in 96, 97 maybe, and they would have fans that would travel to every pay-per-view event. They had like basically season tickets for the WWF. And so this was a murder mystery for those fans. And they had a few wrestlers come out that night. So it was Gold Dust, Sonny from the Body Donnas, and then a guy named Duke the Dumpster Drosy. And Duke the Dumpster was like such a bottom tier wrestler. He never really made it, but he was so charismatic and friendly. And I knew a lot about wrestling. So my parents would basically have a customizable form for every show. And so I helped them write that episode or that production of Seeing the Crime Productions. And I got to help out that night. And so at my parents' house, there's a picture of me with Duke the Dumpster Drosy. Also, Sonny from the Body Donnas stole a prop of my parents. They had
What'd she steal?
one of those classic, like a plastic horse head on a stick, like a cowboy, you're riding a horse. And
Yeah.
she snuck off with it. We went to go in the elevator to go down, and it was one of those where, we got in the wrong elevator and we went up. So we went up and the doors opened and we saw her with the prop. Like we inadvertently caught her stealing it. It was fine. They let it slide, but it's
I'm gonna
actually
get that back for you.
Yeah. 30 years later, we gotta get.
I'm gonna get it back. Yep. I'm gonna talk to her and I'm gonna get it back. I got some connections. I'm getting it back. I'm getting it back by the end of the year. So did your parents did they rope you into acting in the things?
I have acted in one once. I was a fill-in once. But as a kid, occasionally I would go and help out with the registration, that sort of stuff. But it's actually like one of the things I'm really proud of about my parents, because they had worked for another company that was a local place that was doing murder mysteries, and just kind of out of doing, my parents were doing it for fun, and my dad wrote some shows for them. And then they found out that that place was selling my parents' shows to other bars across the country.
Franchising it out.
They were franchising it out, like, without my parents' knowledge. So then my parents started their own murder mystery company, like how Larry David started a Spite store on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. They started a murder mystery, a whole company, out of spite to...
And they're not from Boston. That's a very from Boston move.
And Seeing the Crime Productions still going strong to this day. The place that was franchising my parents' shows long out of business. So nice. Seeing the Crime Productions won the war.
So would you watch like Murder, She Wrote and that kind of stuff with your parents, and they'd be like, "This is garbage"?
My parents would have so many books about different poisons and methods of killing and dying, so that they could work in references and figure out how to write different shows. Yeah.
That would be a great cover to be Assassins, though, too. Like if you found out they were secretly also assassins, and like this whole thing was a cover story, because it'd be like anything that would make them suspicious, they're like, it's for the show.
It's for the show, yeah. All the travel that they would do, it was all to cover for all the different, knockoffs that they were doing this entire time.
We need more killers for hire in this country.
So they showed a lot of restraint with Sonny. When they saw that prop being stolen, it was a lot of restraint.
But again, character witness, they could be like, look, if we were killers for hire, I think we would have killed this woman who stole our prop. So clearly we're not, because we didn't. But it's not a problem. I'm going to get it back for you. So it's not a problem. Also this night, I normally, would have watched SNICK as well, but Little Monsters is on and RoboCop is on. Those are two movies that when they're on, I will always stop and watch them. And at 8:05 on TBS, they're showing Meatballs 2, the better Meatballs film. I said it, better than part 1, which they only give 1 star, but I also in August in the summer, I'm probably going to watch Meatballs 2.
Yeah. You love that alien, right?
Meathead,
The other thing that I would always do after SNICK, I would flip over to USA to watch Weird Science, because I loved that show. I loved it more than the movie and had a huge crush on Vanessa Angel. And that was always like the thrill of I got away with it, that I wasn't caught watching Weird Science. Then I'd keep it on for Duckman, which I don't even like. I remember it being on, but I don't remember ever actually enjoying it as a 9-year-old.
Duckman was great. Duckman was really good. It was that there was a little weird boom post Simpsons where it was two things. It was post Simpsons in the Nicktoons. So Ren and Stimpy, Doug, and Rugrats, where you could have like a very specific style of animated show that was like weird and unique and ugly. And so they got a lot of underground comics and stuff like that they made into shows. And Duckman was one of those shows. And it's very funny. It has an amazing voice cast. It's really weird. Weird Science is so good. Vanessa Angel's a really good friend. I actually saw her over the summer. She was doing a movie down in Providence.
Wow.
And with her.
Weird.
She's the best. She's very funny. And the reason that show works, speaking of Bewitched, is because it's Bewitched. It's Bewitched. It's I Dream of Jeanie,
Yeah.
And she even said that when she took the role, because she actually auditioned for the movie as well. She didn't want it to be, she wanted Lisa to be like more like childlike and kind of like take the weird sexual thing out of it.
Right.
Because that's what really makes that movie creepy. And they did in the show, and it made the show so much better for it.
Yeah. I didn't see the movie until years after watching the TV show. And the TV show was so much better. Yes.
It's perfect. It had, Bruce Campbell's on it. Like, guest stars are really good. They're funny episodes. Yeah. Great show. Still holds up. And also I just stopped. There's a Bob Hope special on that night. Bob Hope's Young Comedians. And this is a famous edition of this. So Dana Gould is on this. Also a friend of the show, co-hosted by Crystal Bernard and Dave Thomas, also been on the show. But have you heard Dana Gould's story about this specific Young Comedian special?
I have not, but when I saw him, that he was in this lineup, I was like, oh man, I'm dying to know what that was like. So I love that there's a story about it.
Yeah, I literally just screenshot this and texted it to him right now. So Bob Hope's like 100 years old at this time. Not even exaggerating. Like, he's super old. He's basically not fit to be in the TV show, which is why they have Dave Thomas co-hosting, and Dave Thomas basically does a great Bob Hope impression. He's good too. Yeah. So, they're really propping him up. So Dana is filming promos for the show with Bob Hope. And there's one where, Dana's like, hey, watch me on the Young Comedians thing, Bob Hope's special, blah, blah, blah. And then Bob Hope's supposed to say, hey, didn't you used to be my caddy? And that's like the joke.
Yeah.
Because he's young. So they go to shoot it, and Bob Hope goes, hey, didn't you used to be my... And so everyone's like, what? So the director's like, we're going to have to do that again. And Bob Hope's like, what's wrong with that one? And the guy had to be like, "Oh, we had a problem with the sound that we have to do it again." So Dana told the story for years, and then maybe 3 years ago he found the footage, so he's posted it. It's hilarious. Hey, didn't you used to be my Wawa?
Oh, that's unbelievable. I love that.
We're gonna have to do that again, Bob. Why? Yeah, so there's a great ad in here for Weird Science, which actually I'm just gonna screenshot and send to Vanessa as well.
And I would say of the SNICK lineup, just like we were talking how Weird Science still holds up, Adventures of Pete and Pete. Unbelievable show.
Amazing.
That is so good.
Yeah.
And another show with a great soundtrack. Polaris.
Amazing soundtrack.
AKA
Yep.
the Miracle Legion. Incredible soundtrack.
Yeah, the song Homer is one of the best sad songs ever, and it's technically about baseball. And it's just like this great sad song. Yeah, Pete and Pete is. Have you ever tried showing that to your kids?
I haven't yet, but I think my son's approaching that age where he'd enjoy it. Yeah.
I have friends, who have kids that are about 10, 11, 12 that they've showed it to, and they're like shocked how much their kids like it, because it does feel weirdly timeless because it was so weird anyway. Like kids dressing, like grunge artists
Right.
in 1992-3 was strange. So like it feels very out of time in this weird way. I love that show so much. Sunday, what are you doing?
Sunday, I am watching back-to-back Simpsons episodes. This is right at the peak of The Simpsons, me really getting into it. The Simpsons basically becoming my lexicon, me learning all these references as a result of it. And then I'm watching a TV movie at 9 o'clock. Now, this is what I would watch now. I wrote it down. It's called The Corpse Had a Familiar Face. And the reason why I want to watch this is because I looked at the cast, and it has Dennis Farina and Yaphet Kotto in it. Two people that were in Midnight Run together.
Yeah.
So it's
Lee
like,
Horsley.
yeah, that years later, it's like, you know what? Let's get those two back. Oh, are you making another comedy? No, we're not. But we're gonna make a drama. I mean, and I'm a big Homicide: Life on the Street fan too. But I love Farina. I love Kotto. So let's watch a movie with the two of them together.
And speaking of Samantha and Bewitched, it also stars Elizabeth Montgomery.
Wow.
I've never seen that, but I kind of want to watch it now. That sounds pretty amazing. The plot is the experiences of a Pulitzer-winning crime reporter, Edna Buchanan, played by Elizabeth Montgomery, inspires this TV movie which focuses on a puzzling missing persons case being covered by the newswoman. Could make for a great murder mystery dinner show.
It could. I'm glad that it stood out to you too.
There's also an ad right before that for another hideous, terrifying doll. She's all porcelain. She's cute as a button. She's just 4 payments of $17.49. It is, this baby girl is cute as a button. What is her name? Barely Yours. Ew. So the weirdest thing here is there's a little focus on the artist. And this is the first time I've seen a male doll artist for one of these. And this is Titus Tomescu. And he's a graduate of the University of Illinois School of Graphic Design and an award-winning sculptor. Titus Tomescu is one of today's most acclaimed and respectful artists. Okay. In choosing to create the all porcelain, which they have in bold letters, Barely Yours baby doll collection, barely spelled like naked, which they don't even explain. Mr. Tomescu says, quote, "My goal is to capture the entire personality of a baby, and designing a doll made of all porcelain enables me to achieve that. It recreates a baby's every expression and gesture, from a smile to a delightful wiggle of the toes. But all porcelain is a difficult medium for artists to work in. That's why few all porcelain dolls are ever made. I hope collectors will consider this Barely Yours collection a unique opportunity and enjoy owning these dolls as much as I've enjoyed creating them." This man should be on a list. I feel like this is...
I love about this is that it is a 1994 Doll Reader Dolls of the Year nominee. And it was also a nominee for the Dolls Award of Excellence. And what I want is I want for somehow 30 years ago there to be a documentary about this committee that is
Yeah.
handing out these awards for Doll of the Year.
Or ever see if these awards were ever televised. So this doll costs $70 too, and you have a 1-year unconditional guarantee. So if on day 366 you decide you hate Cute as a Button from the Barely Yours All Porcelain Collection, out of luck.
What
This is
material
so
is that
creepy.
made out of?
Let me look. I think it is, let's see. She's all porcelain.
Oh, they should list that somewhere.
Yeah, they ended her production forever in 1995. So, there was only a year of these all porcelain dolls made. Yeah, I have to do it. I do it when these come up. I'm going to look on eBay. Almost all of them universally are not worth anything. Occasionally, some of them go for a bunch. Rick, what are you going to guess? This is a little mini game show moment.
Okay. Well, also I like that it's called Barely Yours because it was CC production. But I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess that it's gone up in value. I'm gonna say $120.
Really? Okay, let's see. Porcelain, all porcelain doll. Okay, so you're thinking it's gone up from 70 to 120. So you're thinking like a 50%. Interesting.
Yeah, but I'm not factoring in inflation. I don't know that. I mean, $70 in '94 is probably less than 120. So has it really gone up in value? Who knows?
So here's the interesting thing. The first one I saw, it's a buy it now or best offer, asking price $115. So I was like, wow, maybe he knows something I don't. But then I looked at actual sold auctions, and I would say average price here, we're looking at about $10. But there are listings on here of this for $200 or best offer, $189 or best offer. Like, these people, they must think it's worth a ton because they paid $70 for it. $190 or best offer? No friggin' way. No way. I feel bad for these people.
I wasn't aware of what the market was for all porcelain dolls. That's why I was hoping that maybe it had gone up, but
well, because porcelain is a precious commodity now. It's used in all those iPhones and stuff. It's like a rare earth mineral. So, even just for scrap porcelain, an all porcelain doll is gonna go for quite a lot of money. Yeah, $10, $5, one sold for. They're asking $189. Oh, I feel like I need to do an intervention with those people. Yeah, I think someone should do like a 12-part podcast about Titus Tomescu. Where is he now? Monday, what are we doing?
Monday, I'm very interested in this Coach episode where it involves a race car driver. That seems appealing to me. I recently, over COVID, or in 2020, I got into NASCAR, which I never ever thought I would because it was literally the only sport that was still having broadcasts. So I got into NASCAR. So I'm retroactively appreciating racing in some aspects. So I'm interested in that. Then at 8:30, I always loved Harry Anderson, so I'm going to watch Dave's World. And
yeah, a show that is decent, good cast, but it's just something about it doesn't quite get there for me.
I remember watching it all the time. I don't remember episodes, but I remember watching it. And then at 9:00, this is right around the time when I was getting into football, so I would watch the NFL All Access Madden Training Camp.
Only Fox can get you in there. It's got a half-page ad of a really bad paste-up of John Madden that literally looks like a cardboard cutout, beckoning you into a locker room, which is kind of creepy. It's like, hey, come on. Which is very strange. Coach that night has some race car drivers. Rick Mears and Bobby Unser have cameos. Baywatch that night has Martina McBride on it. This is one where Pam Anderson fishes a country singer played by Ricky Van Shelton, who I think might be a real country singer. I don't know. Out of the Surf.
I wasn't
And,
watching enough TNN to know if Ricky Van Shelton
No.
was a real country singer.
Ricky Van Shelton could have been shaking it on Dance Party. Dave's World that night. Again, Amy Yazbek was on that show. Florence Henderson is in this episode. Shadow Stevens was on the show. Amazing cast. I feel like maybe I need to revisit it.
Shadow Stevens was great on that. And then I remember Harry Anderson had like a magic special that was aired. I think it was
Several.
aired in conjunction with Dave's World. Like he got like a carve out where he got to do, I don't know if it's an hour or a half hour. And I remember Shadow Stevens is in that as well.
Yeah, he had a magic store in New Orleans till he died. Like I think the store's still there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I unfairly held Dave's World up to Night Court.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably why it felt somewhat disappointing to me, but maybe I'll give it another shot.
Well, I mean, the Night Court theme song was so good that I remember loving that as a kid and not even watching the show. I just loved it. So it's hard for him to have gone on to anything that would live up to the theme song of Night Court.
That's true. And Barney Miller had a great theme song too with similar behind the scenes people. I actually purchased a bass guitar just so I could play the Night Court theme song.
Wow. That's
I wish
incredible.
I was joking. Yeah, but that was during COVID. Tuesday, what are you doing?
Tuesday, I can tell you exactly where I was. If you look at page 87, there's an ad for it. It's not listed in the normal listings. I was at a pay-per-view event. That's right. I was at SummerSlam 94 at the United Center in Chicago.
Wow.
My dad took me out of school early that day so we could drive down. The main event, Undertaker versus Undertaker. Not a joke. I made a sign that said, "Go Undertaker." And this was also right in the middle of the baseball strike. And there was a wrestler named MVP who would have like a baseball like makeup on his face where it was like he would have like a white makeup, clown makeup kind of base with the stitching. And his face looked like a baseball.
Like a baseball.
And he came down our aisle in the middle of a match with a sign that said, "I'm on strike." So if someone wants to seek out SummerSlam 94 during the Mabel versus Jeff Jarrett match, you can see me in the crowd. My dad is not there. He was out in the lobby getting concessions. But he came back and I was like, "Dad, you missed it. You could have been on TV." And he had no interest in wrestling, so he was not sorry that he missed it. But yes, I was there.
He's like, dodged a bullet there.
The tagline was SummerSlam 94 so hot, or was it? Hold on. Yeah.
So hot it's scary.
And the other weird thing is Leslie Nielsen and George Kennedy were there. Because so I also looked this up. This was like 6 months after Naked Gun 33 1/3. So it would have made sense if it was 6 months earlier where they were cross-promoting a movie, but maybe they were cross-promoting the upcoming VHS release of it.
It could have been that timing would have worked.
Right.
It was usually 6 months to a year after the theatrical release.
Yeah, but there was, since it was
come out.
Undertaker versus Undertaker, George Kennedy and Leslie Nielsen in their Naked Gun characters were investigating what was happening with the Undertaker, but they were there in the arena, in the United Center. So that's one of those things where this was a very brief, we've talked a lot about wrestling on this episode. I have not watched wrestling in almost 28 years, but for a window of time, it was a big thing. And that's the main thing I look back on. Like, oh, that was cool that I got to see Leslie Nielsen and especially George Kennedy, who I've really come to enjoy as an actor, actually seeing his stuff, not just Naked Gun movies, but seeing him as like a real dramatic actor too. He's great. He's incredible.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's funny because a couple things. One, it was live. So when did you get to see it? Did your parents did your mom tape it for you at home or something?
It was very nice.
When did you get to see it?
We were down there and then my mom at home had ordered the pay-per-view and taped it off of TV. So we came home and I got to go back because I saw myself on the big screen in the arena, but I wasn't sure if that was also the same feed that you were getting in terms of the at-home broadcast. And sure enough, it was. So there is recorded history of me there at the first ever event at the United Center in Chicago, which was SummerSlam '94.
You got 2 TV credits right here. That's more than most stand-ups I know. So you could get booked on gigs. Just because it seems to be a theme this week, on Tuesday night on WPIX, they're showing Phantasm II, which I don't like better than the original Phantasm, but I do quite like. And they also only give that one
if they
star.
had added an alien to Phantasm II, maybe you would have liked that one even more than the original.
Well, there is an argument that the tall man is an alien. He's at least an extra-dimensional being.
Can I tell you my other unique TV credits?
Yeah, go for it.
My family, we were on Family Feud with Steve Harvey, and we lost. And the other thing is, my name, not me, but my name is in the background of a scene on Breaking Bad. A family friend was a voice actor, and he had been hired to read what was a radio broadcast that was just airing in the background during a scene of Breaking Bad. And so he took the script and read what was written, but just changed some names around. And so he put in names of people that he knew. And the one time that you can clearly hear the radio in this scene is him saying, as summed up by Rick Katschke. So my name is on Breaking Bad. It's the season
it's canon.
Where it's the episode where there's rot in the house. And so Walt is kind of obsessed with that. So it's a breakfast scene where Skyler says, "Are you going to work today?" And in between her saying that and him saying, "Skyler, there's rot," you can hear the radio say, as summed up by Rick Katch. There you have it.
That's a pretty good credit. Yeah, the only close thing to that is in She-Hulk. She's going through her phone of all the people she dated, and one of the entries is Ken R, and it says "fun time."
And that is specifically you. Yes,
so officially,
100%.
That is me. Yeah, no, it was put in.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it's official MCU canon that I went on a date with She-Hulk and had a fun time.
My friend Melissa Hunter worked on that show. That's incredible.
I love that show. People hated it. I thought it was fantastic, but those friggin' nerds. Wednesday night, what do you do?
Wednesday night, I am running from the television when the Unsolved Mysteries theme comes on. It scared me so much, but I do love it. It's basically the appeal of like a Halloween season. You like getting scared. That theme, I still, when I hear it, the hair stands up on my neck. But and the combination of that theme and Robert Stack's approach, like, it's incredible. So even though it scared me, I still, especially later on, like when I was in high school and during the summer you could watch reruns on Lifetime, I would spend days watching hours and hours of Unsolved Mysteries. So I would still, even though it scared me, I'd enjoy Unsolved Mysteries. And then
1-800-876-5353. You could solve a mystery.
And then speaking of Lifetime, I was very intrigued. Now I'd like to see this Lifetime movie that's Best Kept Secrets. A cop's wife finds out that the department has a file on her that's keeping him from getting a promotion.
And what did she do? We don't know.
I don't know. I need to seek this out.
So it's made for TV, 1984. It stars Patty Duke as the cop's wife. And who else is it? Peter Coyote, Meg Foster, Howard Hessman. I've never seen this, but I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
This episode of Unsolved Mysteries is a prime example of the weird mixture of cases they have. So this one is reports include unexplained encounters with angels, a woman's quest to find her missing husband. Also, a man who disappeared in 1993 while scuba diving. Okay. Angels, my husband's missing, and this guy's dead. Keeping with the sequels theme, WPAX that night is showing Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night II, which I 100% think is a better movie than the original Prom Night, even though it doesn't have the cool disco song. It's sort of a a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff, Prom Night 2. Has a great soundtrack. TerrorVision Records put it out on vinyl, which I have somewhere here. They only give it 1 star as well, but I would say Prom Night 2 is a better movie than the original.
The run of 1 stars for sequels, that's shocking. It's shocking that you get 3 1 stars in a row.
WPIX, so this is a New York edition, but we got PIX here in Boston, and they were great about theme movie weeks, and they would show a lot of horror movies. So I think the theme this week is sequels to horror movies that are all at 1 star. So we've had, although Meatballs 2 doesn't really fit in with that, but we got Phantasm 2, Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. I'm curious to see what we have on Thursday, Friday. So let's do Thursday. What do you got?
Originally, I was seeing there was the classic must-see TV lineup of, Mad About You, Frasier, Seinfeld, those shows. I think this was pre-Friends, but the thing that really caught my eye was the TV cut of The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
Yep. Rennie Harlan's Ford Fairlane.
That I want to see, because I want to see if Andrew Dice Clay actually recorded clean lines, or if they have somebody doing a bad Dice impression to cover up all the profanity. That's what I am very curious about.
I'm fairly certain it's a Dice impersonator, which not that hard to do. But I'm curious about that as well. I 100%. Oh, let's see what they gave Ford Fairlane. Actually, I'm curious. 2 stars. So it's also on PIX. So they've broken the sequel thing, but they're showing Ford Fairlane. 2 stars. No way. I'm watching My So-Called Life. This is the 3rd episode. This is a great episode. I love the show. I 100% was watching My So-Called Life that Thursday night. And in school that year, my one crush in high school, freshman year, sat next to me in history class. And on Fridays, she was the only other person that watched My So-Called Life, so I got to talk to her about what happened in the episode the night before. This is very exciting.
No communication the rest of the week, but when My So-Called Life was on, that was the excuse, the reason that you had to have communication. And that made it even more heartbreaking that it was such a short-lived show, right?
100%. Yeah, that's why my single-handed letter writing campaign was sadly a failure. And by the time MTV started airing the reruns, it was too late. It's just too late.
I think with our 5-year age difference, my version of My So-Called Life was 5 years later. Freaks and Geeks, loved that show. And I actually got to go to the Museum of Broadcast Communication in Chicago after Freaks and Geeks had been canceled. Paul Feig and Judd Apatow did a presentation at the Museum of Broadcast Communications where they showed unaired episodes, which was unreal. And then later that summer, they showed like 4 other unaired episodes, but like I think 2 of the ones I had seen, nobody saw them until they started re-airing the show on the Family Channel. Yeah. So that was cool that I saw like a secret Freaks and Geeks episode.
They came to the Coolidge Corner Theater in Boston around the same time and showed it, and Paul Feig did at least. I forget if Judd Apatow was there. Paul Feig was definitely there, and they showed I think 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then weirdly, so that show aired, I think it started fall of 2000.
I think it's fall of 99 into spring of 2000.
So, yeah, right? And then it was canceled. But then I moved to England, and Channel 4 in the UK was showing all the unaired episodes, which was kind of fun.
Wow.
So I saw them.
Yeah,
now.
I've got the yearbook version of the DVDs.
Which I was like, I don't know if I can afford this. I did that with My So-Called Life too. There was a huge campaign to get My So-Called Life on DVD. And this was like probably 98, 99. So this was like early days of TV on DVD. And they did basically like a Kickstarter campaign pre-Kickstarter. And it came in a My So-Called Life lunchbox, and it was, they were like okay-ish DVDs. And now, I can get the show on Blu-ray with like tons of extra, which is insane. Complete insanity. Cannot believe it. Final night of the week, Friday night. What are you doing?
TGIF. I was, this is after Full House. I think Full House was off the air at this point, but you got your Family Matters, your Boy Meets World, Step by Step, and Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Step by Step actually took place in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's right.
Takes place, I think, in Port Washington, Wisconsin. But at the beginning of it,
the
there
Dells?
was a big roller coaster. And there's no roller coaster nearby. I don't know what theme park that is. There's no roller coaster in Port Washington. I guess if you go up to Green Bay, there's like the Bay Beach area. But no, there's nothing like that in the immediate Port Washington area.
We don't know. I mean, you couldn't have them all on a water slide. Although maybe one of those big. There's tube ones where like 5 people can be on at once. So maybe, but it wouldn't have been as cinematic.
Like the whitewater raft type of, exactly.
So maybe they could do that. Family Matters that night is a repeat, but the guest star is Donna Summer, Boston's own Donna Summer, playing Urkel's aunt.
I actually have written down Donna Summer right there.
Playing Urkel's aunt, which is kind of ridiculous. But there's also 2 great movies on. Summer School is on, which is one of my favorite 80s comedies, written by Jeff Franklin, who did create Full House. So there's a Full House adjacent show, airing at the same time, and not on PIX, but a sequel to a horror movie that's better than the original. And I like the original is on Cinemax, and it's Warlock the Armageddon, which is part 2 of the Warlock series. And they give it 2 stars.
Hey, there you go. And Summer School, even though it's a comedy, it does have that great horror makeup sequence. So yeah, great gore scene.
They only give Summer School 2 stars.
I did not see Summer School until a few years ago for the first time, and I don't know the name of the actor.
Mark Harmon.
But I'm gonna send you a picture of my friend comedian Joe Quazala. Okay. And one of the horror fanatics looks so much like Joe. So if you haven't had Joe on your show, I think he'd be.
It could be Dean Cameron. Who's Chainsaw?
I think yes, Dean Cameron. That is the name.
Yeah,
yes,
he's Chainsaw. Mm-hmm. That's possible. I love that movie. It's so fun. At one point I wanted to put out a record, like a stand-up album, where the cover would be a parody of the soundtrack cover to Summer School, and I was gonna call it The Mark of Harmon.
I like it.
Yeah, I decided against it.
The other thing that was on that Friday night, if I didn't go TGIF, the thing I'd be interested in now. On Discovery Channel, there is a profile of the World Football League's Scott Ernie of the Barcelona Dragons. The World Football League was a short-lived football league with teams across Europe. And the fact that there was a Discovery Channel biography of one of the quarterbacks for one of those teams, I want to see what that is. I'm intrigued.
Was this around the same time as the XFL in that, or was that a little bit later?
This is about 6 years before the XFL, and a few years before they had a thing called NFL Europe. It was the World Football League. And there's some coaches that came from the World Football League. Not a lot of notable players that I know of. Certainly not this quarterback of the Barcelona Dragons. I've never heard of him before.
I'll look him up. Maybe he's designing all porcelain dolls these days. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he went into upon retiring.
And the price point for those, $120.
That's what I'm asking. Well, it's worth, I paid $70. I'll give it to you for $180. It's at least doubled in price. I'm sorry, this is worth $5.
It was a 1994 Doll of the Year nominee.
Yeah, and they stopped making it in 1995, so it was limited edition. So as your TV guide is just informative, it has opinions and it cheers and it jeers. So to finish up this week, I'd like to read you the cheers and jeers of this week, the final week in August 1994. It is 2 cheers, 2 jeers, split week. Always my favorite section because it's unsigned. It usually gets super bitchy. There's always some very bizarre complaints. So let's start with a cheers. Cheers to a slate of upcoming documentaries that will bring a touch of glitter as well as literacy to the tube in the form of Hollywood's biggest names. The Discovery Channel has signed Harrison Ford to lend his clear and present voice to Mustang, the Hidden Kingdom, a travel log of a Tibetan land so remote even Indiana Jones would have a hard time finding it. Michelle Pfeiffer has a not-so-dangerous liaison with PBS narrating the Discovering Women series, a 6-hour look at female scientists, and Anthony Hopkins, Alan Alda, Danny Glover, and Corbin Burnson all have documentaries on deck as well. I mean, I can't argue with that, I guess. I mean, I do hate they're not even puns. I don't even know what you would call those jokes. Those are terrible.
My aunt went to high school with Harrison Ford. Just thought
Really?
I'd throw that out there.
What does she say about him?
I don't recall if they actually interacted, but I know that they went to high school together. And my dad went to high school with Hillary Clinton.
Wow.
So kind of weird that two notable figures went to high school with my aunt.
They don't have them, their yearbooks aren't signed by them?
My dad's yearbook might be signed by Hillary because he did know Hillary when they were in school. She was a few years older than him.
Oh, you gotta see.
They actually
I'd
interacted.
love to see what they would write.
That was one of our selling points when we got on Family Feud, that my dad went to high school with Hillary Clinton, because this was 2016.
Oh, nice.
So it was right around the election. And so we brought my dad's yearbook, so Steve Harvey looked at it.
And you guys lost, so I blame you.
It was a sign of things to come.
Also, 94 is Dangerous Liaisons, the reference I'm going to use for Michelle Pfeiffer? I don't think so. That's just me.
Right.
But anyway, jeers to how some network suits spent their summer vacation, tinkering with shows we think would have been better left alone. We didn't mind that they changed the name of Ellen DeGeneres' series from These Friends of Mine to Ellen, but did they have to go and change some of the friends too? When new episodes of ABC's retooled sitcoms start airing September 20th, Holly Fulger, who played Ellen's best friend, will be gone, and we'll feel like we've lost one of our friends. Another change we're dubious about, the decision to drop several black actors from the cast of Mantis. Introduced in a 2-hour pilot last January, the Fox series took a laudable step forward by building an action-adventure show around a black superhero. But now it seems to have taken a lamentable step back by writing out the young Africans who helped give Mantis his powers. Frankly, we think that television could use more black power, not less. Did they mean actual Africans? I don't recall that show. I feel like that's a screw up.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm going to have to look that up because, oh boy. Jeers to any snobs who scoffed at David Hasselhoff's insistence in our recent Baywatch cover story that there are genuinely uplifting and educational elements to his lifeguard show. If you don't believe it, ask 13-year-old James Thorogood, who knew just what to do recently when he saw his pet rabbit, Boogity, sink to the bottom of his swimming pool. After using artificial respiration to re-energize the bunny, Thorogood explained, quote, "I just thought about Baywatch and remembered what I'd seen." And you thought teenage boys were watching Baywatch for something other than life-saving techniques. That might be the...
Ken, you gotta have James.
I gotta find James.
Show.
This might be the single most insane story I've read in a TV guide in my life. Do you think this kid made this up? I feel like he made it up.
I feel like what happened was he saved the rabbit. Then later he was caught watching Baywatch. And then he said, whoa, wait. You can't criticize me. This is how I knew how to save the rabbit. So I feel like it retroactively covered him for being caught watching Baywatch by his
I'm going to
parents.
find James Thorogood. Me and James Thorogood are going to go together and get that prop back for you. That's going to be the heist movie. I can't believe Boogity.
And your tag team nickname, the Destroyers.
Right. That's right. Wow. And oddly, it's odd that's a jeer, because they're like, jeers to you for thinking David Hasselhoff's bad when this kid saved his rabbit.
Right. It's a jeer that allows them to pat themselves on the back. It's a very funny jeer. The other thing I wanted to say about These Friends of Mine changing to Ellen, do you think that's because Friends was about to air, right? Is this right around the time period? Would there be Friends and These Friends of Mine dueling at the same time?
So Friends was the back half of 94. Yes, it would have. Yes, it would have started that year. Yeah. It's possible, but Friends was not seen as like a viable show. Like people were like, this thing's going to be, because it was a bunch of people who'd been in tons of failed stuff. It was not novel in any way. Like Ellen was a known commodity. Like she's a stand-up, right? So but they were like, this show's stupid. So I doubt they would have changed it because of that. Because they also were on the air a year before, so they had sort of, but they were probably like Ellen's more notable, so people watch it for her, I guess. But interesting, yeah. It would have been funny if those were both on at the same time. Because at one point there was Wings on the Discovery Channel, which was a documentary show about airplanes, and Wings on NBC, and people get very confused. They're like, Wings is on. It's like, no, it's different Wings. And finally, cheers to CBS medical correspondent Dr. Bob Arnott, who recently got closer to a story than was good for his health. The journalist physician was covering the massive human tragedy in Zaire when a cameraman shooting footage of what appeared to be the corpse of a child thought he saw the boy's chest moving. Observing his Hippocratic oath, Arnott quickly picked up the filth-covered child and got him to a hospital. After several hours of treatment, the boys retreated from death's door, but several days later, Arnold found himself chilled and weak. Consulting doctors, he found that despite his precautions, he had contracted cholera. Fortunately, the physician has since healed himself, and we're happy to congratulate both him on his recovery and his humanity. We don't know if the kid died, but he gave him cholera. I feel like that the doctor should have been like, I learned how to save this boy from Baywatch. I don't think cholera came up on Baywatch.
No, that was on Baywatch Nights.
That would have been. There were a couple of monster viruses on Baywatch Nights. Is cholera a virus or is it a bacteria? I don't know. But man, well, this has been so fun. Thank you for doing this. I'm so glad that we got a chance to sit down. You got some stories, my man.
Thank you for giving me the forum to share them and again talk a lot more about WWF wrestling than I have in decades.
You're not the first and only person to do it on the show, and you won't be the last. Not Rick Karski. Rich Kasky. No, or it's no, I'm wrong. Oh my God. How confused are you? No, it's Rick Katschke. Rick Katschke, good dude. Really love talking to him. Check out the Catered Quiz. I think you will love it. It's a super fun show. I'm sure there's guests whose names you recognize aside from mine. You can even skip mine if you want, but I wouldn't just because, I'm me. Next week, last guest of the year, and then we do our year in review. So get those questions in if you would like. Let me know how you're doing. As we go into 2026, we made it through an entire year. Yeah, I don't know how we did that. So thanks again to Rick for doing the show. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
It is the year 2025. A once proud world has been reduced to ruin and despair.